Today, we can't stay here in Manhattan, and that's because we're leaving and we're going to Astoria, Queens to look at a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment for $3,800 a month. That's cheap, and I'm really curious to see what this looks like because in Manhattan, something with those features is gonna be north of $6,000, $7,000. Astoria is a neighborhood with its own unique identity. It's got its own bars, it's got its own nightlife, it's got its own cafes, it's got its own parks, and it really has a much more laid-back feel than Manhattan ever could hope to have. One thing you're gonna notice about Astoria is that the buildings here are much smaller than they are in Manhattan. You're not gonna have any skyscrapers here at all, although you do see them when you commute into the city. A lot of the streets have a very strong residential vibe to them. There are bars and cafes on the avenues, but most of the streets are pretty much residential through and through. A really prominent feature of Astoria and this whole area in general, Astoria, Long Island City, is the above-ground subway platforms that serve the area. All of these were actually redone within the last 2 years, and they're pretty nice. They're a lot nicer than some of the really beat-up subway terminals you'll see in Manhattan. And if you're living here and you have to use these to get to and from the city, it makes your commute that much better. Speaking of commutes, it didn't take us that long to get here at all. It was only like 45 minutes to get from the East Village here to 30th Avenue, which is right by where the apartment is. The commute's really not that bad, and if you were someone that was thinking of living in, let's say, the Upper East Side, you shouldn't make a decision on that neighborhood until you've checked out Astoria, because the commute's about the same and the prices here are much, much lower, 40 to 50% lower than what you're gonna pay in Manhattan for a similar sized apartment. Now, I'm not saying that Astoria is comparable to the Upper East Side. I mean, in the Upper East Side, you've got access to Central Park, you're still in Manhattan, so the vibe is very different. But if the only thing that you're concerned with is the quality and price of the apartment that you're getting, this is definitely a neighborhood to look at. Okay, this is one of the largest apartments that I've seen anywhere. This is huge. I mean, right when you walk in, you've got the kitchen and the living room, which are in the same room. And we might as well talk about the kitchen first because that's the first thing that you see. This kitchen is excellent. It's got plenty of counter space and everything here is really nice. This entire apartment was recently renovated, so everything that you're gonna see here is brand new. And it really shows. The kitchen, like the stove, is huge. It's a 5-burner stove and it's full size. Above that is a nice microwave. And it's also got a dishwasher and a full-size fridge. The counter space here is pretty good. And there's a lot of cabinet space as well. I mean, you'd really get a lot of use out of that. And that's good because this is a 4-bedroom apartment and there's gonna be 4 people living here. So it's good that the kitchen is large enough that 4 people will be able to use it comfortably. I mean, there's just so much room here because you've got the kitchen and the living room right next to each other. If your roommate or someone that you live with is using the kitchen, you can easily walk around them and get in and out of this room. You guys could use the kitchen together. It's really big, it's really convenient, and I like that everything is like right in a row against this one wall here. Things aren't in multiple parts of this room. Everything is just all together. This is well designed and it's really, really functional. This is a legit stove with 5 burners. It's full size. The dishwasher, this is full size as well. I mean, look at this. This isn't like one of those tiny little Manhattan dishwashers which you can fit just a couple of cups in. No, this is the real deal right here. One of my personal pet peeves is when they put the cabinets in places that you just can't reach, but here, everything is super easy to get to, and you'll be able to use everything here. You'll also notice that although there's no fan for the kitchen, there's a nice large window right here so you could easily air out this entire room. And because there's 2 bedrooms that are off the living room, if you open the windows there, you'll get nice cross ventilation, and this apartment's never gonna have a weird smell to it. So right next to where we've got the kitchen is the living room. Now this living room is an awesome, awesome size. It's really big, and again, this is a 4-bedroom apartment, so there's gonna be a lot of traffic here, but this is a nice size. You could easily get whatever size couch you want. I mean, look at this. There is so much space here. Any size couch you want can fit in this room. You can have any size TV you want. This would be a really easy room to set up. The hallway is lined up exactly with the entrance of the bedrooms, and that really helps you when you set the room up. It just makes so much sense to put things that don't take up a lot of space on this wall, like a flat screen TV, and to have things that are larger against this other wall back here, where they can take up as much room as they need to and be out of the way. But this is a 4-bedroom, so that means we've got to evaluate how good the bedrooms are. So there's 2 bedrooms that are off the side of the living room, and then the other 2 bedrooms are gonna be down this hallway on the other side of the kitchen. So we might as well check out the 2 that are here that face the street. I really like this room. It's got 2 nice large windows that face 30th Avenue, which gives you a nice view of the street. And there's a lot of light coming in because again, we're in a part of town which isn't full of skyscrapers. So there's tons of light just flooding into this room and it feels excellent. It's also a really good size. You could easily fit a queen size bed in here. The ceilings are nice and tall, so it feels big, it feels spacious, and there's a really big closet here as well. This is a pretty good size. This closet, excellent size. They didn't use sliding doors, so you can just open the whole thing up at once, which is really easy. It makes it super accessible. There's a nice shelf space here where you can store things, and then you're not gonna run out of room anytime soon because it's a good size. All right, let's move next door, check out the other street-facing room. All right. There's a lot in this room that is similar to the one that we just looked at. We've got 2 really nice windows, again, facing 30th Avenue, lots of light coming in just as with the other room, and everything here is very similar. This layout's a little bit different because the closet that's here is set back into the wall. It doesn't pop out a little bit. This is excellent. Excellent storage space. I think this one is a little bit bigger than the one in the other room, but they're both great. This room is a really similar size to the one that's right next door. And to me, these 2 rooms are comparable. One's not necessarily better than the other. You might have your own preference, but they're pretty close in size. And I think that you'd be happy with either room if you wanted the street-facing view. Here's one of the bathrooms. We'll check these out in a second, but this apartment has 2 bathrooms and there's also a washer dryer in the apartment. Really, everything 4 people would need to be comfortable is right here and easy to get to. This is nice. These 2 rooms here, they've got their own bathroom right here, which is nice and convenient. So this room that we've walked into is a little bit different. Now, the 2 rooms that are here in the back of the building face south. The windows in these rooms are a little bit different. This is definitely more of a traditional window, and this room only has 1 window, but this is still a really big space, and queen size bed, no problem. You could fit a queen size bed and a dresser in this room. So even though it's only got 1 window, it's still a really, really large space. And since you don't have a view that faces the street, this room is gonna be really quiet. Another thing that's worth mentioning is there's a lot of light coming in here, and that's because out this window, there's no building. You have a nice south-facing view of Astoria, and you're getting a lot of natural light. So even though it doesn't face the street, it's not like we're looking at a brick wall, which is typical of a lot of Manhattan apartments. Sometimes the interior rooms that don't face the street look directly out onto a brick wall, but that's not an issue here at all. All right, the last room, here we go. Ooh, I like this one. We've got the same southern facing view that we had in the room we just looked at, but this room has 2 windows instead of just 1, and the size, I think this might be the biggest room in the entire apartment. There's nothing to complain about with these bedrooms. These are all awesome. All right, let's take a look at the bathrooms. They're still doing some renovations here, so things aren't 100% ready, but this is a good bathroom. It's big, it's easy to move around in here, and the finishes are really nice. There's this frosted sliding glass door, which leads to the bathtub. There's a nice little window right here so you can air it out, and medicine cabinet. Yes, we have a medicine cabinet as well. Even though that fan is really loud, it's here and you've got the window. I mean, you're never gonna have a mold problem here. Let's head down the hall, check out the other bathroom, see how it compares. All right, so you can see some evidence that the renovations aren't 100% ready, but that's okay. This still looks great. The difference that I'm seeing with this bathroom is that instead of a bathtub, it has a standing shower with a glass door. And it's also a little bit bigger. This bathroom feels much larger than the one that's at the other end of the hall. Really, I like that they didn't go cheap on these bathrooms. These are excellent bathrooms, and this is much better than anything you'd get in Manhattan, hands down. But really, the best part about all this is that it's right next to the subway, which is just super convenient and not really something that you ever get when you move to an outer borough. So if you like that apartment and you want to make that apartment your new home, let me know. My contact information is below. And if you want to see some other apartments, ba-boom! This playlist, this has all my other apartment tours on it. Check that out, and I will see you in the next video.